Okay. After having one of the more challenging week in years, and one day of being late because I pledged to release these on Saturdays, but today is a Sunday. I still don't allow any of those to break this important habit, and I'm happy to announce that my third project called PixelPerfect is now live. Um, as usual, like with every other week, I'm going to talk about why did I decide to build this project, how does it work. Basically, I'm going to do a quick demo, talk a little bit about the tech stack, things that I did for the first time ever. For this particular app, I'm adding a new section, which is things that I plan to improve, because this is, unlike the first two apps, one that I really want to continue building. Then some of the challenges that I encountered, and then just a final score for myself and for my build. In case you're randomly seeing this video and you don't know who I am, I've decided on January 1st that I'm going to build 50 apps using only AI coding tools, and started this self-proclaimed, self-invented journey called 50-50 Challenge, where I'm trying to release 50 MVPs in 50 weeks, and you can follow my progress on this YouTube channel. Now, going back to the project itself and talking a little bit about how it actually, the reasons, especially first, why I decided to build it. So whenever I would build a new website, in any tool, pretty much, I usually use Webflow, but in any tool, the biggest hardship for me and the most time-consuming, tedious task was always image optimizations. For those of you who are not that versed into SEO, you get the most optimal SEO scores if your images are lightweight, meaning that they have to have a web-friendly format and they have to be small in size. And obviously, for SEO purposes, you want to name them properly. So whenever I would get a stock image, I would have to rename it manually, convert it in another software, then again rename it. Then, it was just a whole process which if you are like building a website with 100 pages or whatever, it's going to take you a while to do. I tried to use a couple of tools, and most of them had really small conversion limits, like maybe just 5 conversions for free, or you can do only 2 photos at a time, and like the pricing was like crazy. Some of these tools wanted to pay me to pay $20 for a month. So I just came up with the idea of like, why wouldn't I build the app myself, right? And so that's how PixelPerfect was born. So it is a super simple app, as you'll see in a few minutes. You just go in there, register your account, you upload your files. Standard images format would work, like JPEG, PNG, probably a couple of others. And do it in bulk too, which I personally recommend because it's just most efficient when you do it in bulk. Then you go ahead and you choose your optimal settings, like your resolution, aspect ratio, output format, because we have 2 web-friendly formats, AVIF and WebP. And then you can also create image names in this process, like just rename them then and there, or you can leverage AI to get the name of the image and the alt text for it. I'm still have a lot of work to do on that front to make it like super optimal, but right now, from a technical perspective, this feature works. And then finally, after you're done naming the images and whatnot, with a single click, you just go in there and your images get converted, and that's pretty much it. Super simple, but it works like a charm. So let's walk each other through a demo. All right, so this is the logged in state. I can take you to the homepage, which honestly is not super optimized. So I'm not personally its biggest fan. We can go back to the process. Again, I use some of these illustrations and whatnot, but it's just there for the purpose of like guiding a new user. Then if you want to log in or click to try it for free, you would be directed to log into your account. I'm just going to use an existing account for this purpose. And then from there, you can kind of get an introduction as to how the app works and how everything functions. So let's give it a go. I'll just drop a few images in here right now for them to be processed. I just took a couple of random photos that were downloaded, and let's say I just want to cut them like not in a square, but let's pick a bit of a different. Let's use a widescreen, right? So the app right now isn't perfect. Like, it crops the images the way it wants to, and that's your final crop. You can edit the crop settings from here, from the image bar, but that's not ideal. I have to say that this is the bit that I will want to work more on. But it will work. If you want to crop it and move it, it will work out. It's just not easily controllable. That said, if you like what you see here, you can, as I mentioned, you can just go ahead and just delete the image names, and you can click on generate, and the AI should then generate image file names. As you can see here, it's just like balloon, person with top. I mean, not ideal. Alt text is kind of a little bit better, but it can still be way improved. But let's say that you want to name the photo like this. Okay, and then let's say that we want to name this photo just a person. Let's call this a balloon and person for now. Everything seems optimal, and let's just click to process all images in bulk. So as you can see, I mean, the processing of images, quite honestly, is extremely efficient. I'm super proud of this fact. Usually I reduce the image sizes by 80 to 90%, and most of the other tools I use would do like 65 or whatever, and the smaller the better. When you click to download the images, you will get them to open in a new tab like this. So I'm still figuring out everything on the file storage side, but you can then easily click to save as, and the name of the file will be the same as you've named it. As you can see, it's person, and then it adds this WebP extension, which again, for SEO purposes, is really, really important and really, really good. Now, going back to the main screen here, if you want to restart the process again from scratch, all you got to click is process new images, and you'll be taken back to the starting screen. If you want to look at what you've done in the past, you just go to your photo library folder over here, and you can again download any of the images. If you don't need them anymore, you can just click on one of them, then select all and just delete. Just super simple options, really. And yeah, that's it. Like, obviously, if you've processed images and you remember their names, remember we talked about wanting to name the images in a specific way, you can just go ahead, go and search, and you will see the balloon displayed here. Not sure why person got displayed as well. I'd have to check that. It should just be one. But overall, I mean, you get the gist. The app works. To me, it's extremely useful. It really saves me a lot of time because doing all of these things, and it's completely free, quite honestly. Like, doesn't cost me anything, literally, to do any of this stuff. The tech stack I use to make sure that it's optimal is that I use Lovable for front-end design, Supabase for backend, just to store your images. Then I had to use Google Vision API for basically image recognition, so that it can create the names and the alt names and the names of the images, but then leverage the OpenAI, just basic integration with no optimization, as you saw, to just get the alt text created properly and image names. And then finally, Lovable did this on its own. Like, I didn't control this bit, but it used, I had to ask it what it used, and it used HTML5 Canvas API to compress images. App is accessible on mobile, but I want to say that the desktop experience is much more optimal. And then my main tip for the tech stack stuff is this notion and this idea. One of the core frameworks that I use now is that great artist steal. Meaning that when you design your landing page, or when you design the looks of your app itself, you don't have to come up with it from scratch. You can always go and reference a free library, or a library that's not free, but Lovable will not entirely copy it. You can just go and find images on apps like Dribble and places like that, and just ask Lovable to replicate or use the same color or similar colors and basically design your app. So that's my main takeaway for this week on the tech stack stuff. As for things that I did for the first time ever, I did have to create this Google API thing. Honestly, felt a million times more complex than I would have expected it for whatever reason. Like, I've tried to create API keys for a bunch of apps in my life, and Google's, for some reason, just felt too complicated for, I don't know why. the image compression logic, which honestly, as I said, to me, I'm very impressed. I've been able to compress some like 10 megabyte images into like just less than 500 kilobytes, which is amazing. File saving and editing happening in app. Again, not perfect yet, but it's going to get there quite soon, I believe. I also have a guided tutorial on how to use the app. You haven't seen that because I was using a user that was already created. But once you create your own account, you will see that there's like a 4-step tutorial. I mean, the app's so simple that it didn't require it, but I just kind of wanted to have it there. I also created privacy policy in terms of service for this app because this is the one that I really expect to get users. Like the first two, I wasn't expecting almost anybody, but for this one, I kind of feel like everybody else is going to think that this is also quite helpful. And then I've used the professional illustrations on my marketing pages from design libraries for the first time. Again, if we sign out and just go to the main landing page, you'll see this illustration, then a couple of these. I think that the particular app that I used for this one is called Uniraw or something like that. I can definitely include a link in the comments if you guys want it. But yeah, these illustrations really, I think, gave the landing page a nicer look. And then, as I mentioned, unlike for the other videos that you might have watched, where I was like, kind of, hey, this project is like a done deal, and I'm not going to work on it going forward. This one definitely is one of those that I will spend more time on because I feel like I can work on supporting more file types and suggested resolutions. I think I can develop much better and more comprehensive edited options. I think that's the big next one. I also think that with just a little bit of tweaking, name and alt text creation can be excellent, pretty much. And then, yeah, obviously, I know that I can improve my landing page. I always build my landing page last, and because of the challenges that I encountered, I really spent almost no time doing so. I think that, again, image editing module really needs to be improved. The build itself took a little bit longer than expected to do too, but way less than the first two builds. So I think I'm just getting faster and better at it, and I'm happy to see that progress. I had a really busy stint at work the past few weeks, and that made me neglect again the basic app designs. So I want to improve it because I know that I can do it. I just need a few hours of like creative work to do it. And then paradoxically, this is the funniest bit for me. So Lovable doesn't support the web files that my app is building. So if you go to the illustration that I opened, and you look at the URL, it's actually a PNG image. So I really kind of want to negate that fact with Lovable by basically replacing these images with WebP files. It's not going to take me almost any time to do so, but yeah, I just felt that was funny that I couldn't like just upload WebP files that I've optimized for my app. And then finally, if we go to the last bit, as I usually finish off these demos, I'm going to give myself a final score on this one. I think the app is around 8 out of 10. What works great. I think image compression, because that's the key, that's the core function, works flawlessly. It is amazing. I've tested it out on a couple of websites. It's just great. Editing tools would need to be improved, and some of the flows, but the core function of the app is working excellent. The landing page sucks. It's just plain awful. Again, zero time. I don't think I invested like literally 3 prompts into this, so maybe 3 minutes of building time total, which again, I know that I can do better. And again, if I had a little bit more time, I think I would have pushed this to a perfect 10. This would have been by far my best app that I've built ever in Lovable. And then finally, just another call to action for all of you guys. If you need any photos compressed and you want to get your LCP down and your SEO scores improved, just visit pixelperfect.lovable.app and knock yourselves out. And again, keep shipping.